We're going to come down to the better offense today, and Delaware lacks that. Stony Brook, their last two games, they've only scored 24 points, and they got to do a better job of that. Delaware, knowing not really want to be in the top teams of the CAA, Stony Brook the last couple of games. Richmond has been hot over the last couple of games, really surprised Stony Brook 2 weeks ago. Towson projected to be number second in the preseason CAA polls, and Tom Flacco has been on a mission. Over 45 career touchdowns now with the Tigers, but I think it's going to be the offense is the key for both of these teams.
Yeah, Blue Hens won the toss, elect to kick, so they'll receive the ball in the second half. Seawolves getting the ball right now. So the Blue Hens will be kicking from right to left. Seawolves will be receiving and try to march from left to right.
So here we go. I believe Stony Brook did win the toss and decided to receive it instead, because I saw the ref make an initial calling unless Delaware deferred it.
And here we go with the kick off. This one playable going to number 19 on Stony Brook, and instead looking like that'll go out of bounds.
That'll be Gregory Young calling the fair catch, unless he said that went out of bounds. Actually, he called a fair catch. So the ball will be placed at the 25-yard line to start off the game for the Seawolves offensively.
That was actually Brandon Benson that the ball was going towards the end zone. He looked like he was going to catch it, let it go over his head for a touchback. Also the former transfer out of Southern Methodist. And now Stony Brook, yeah, they will take over at the 25. And don't see Gene Constant on there, but looks like we do see Sean Harris Jr.
Yeah, interesting to know. Remember, Harris had a couple key catches last time out as Fields in the huddle now. Fakes the handoff, starts to run in himself up the middle, goes on the far side of the field past 25, right for 27 or so for a gain of a couple yards.
So he'll gain about 3 yards on the play right there. Looks like he may have thought that there may have been a receiver that would be able to break through that D-line, find himself open enough to make a throw. I remember when Joe Burrow did that against LSU last week against Alabama, but he couldn't find anybody. He had to switch to the left side and was able to gain about 2, it looks like, on the play. So second and 8 coming up.
Yeah, Stony Brook now back in shotgun position with White next to Fields. 3 receivers, 2 on the far side, 1 on the near side. Looks like 5 Blue Hens showing blitz. Handoff now, White up the middle, charging his way to about the 30 or so. Gain of possibly 2 or 3 yards.
He gains about 3 on the play. The rushing game for the Stony Brook Seawolves in the last 2 weeks have been practically stagnant, but able to find a good hole right there for 3 yards. So it makes it third and manageable from the 30-yard line. Yeah,
interesting to note, remember, Fields not even running the ball too much last time out. He actually started off the game running, that time handing off to White, who's there in the backfield. So he's still maintaining 4 receivers now. We see McKenzie checking in the receiving position. 3 on the far side, 1 on the near side. As we see the Blue Hens showing a zone defense here. Fields in the backfield, pressure coming, has to have that one off, and intercepted from the Blue Hens, and they'll take that charge into the end zone, and that's an early pick 6 touchdown from the Blue Hens.
Johnny Buchanan with the pick 6, and Tykel Fields had to get rid of that, and he did. Looked like the Patriots defense right there from the Blue Hens just had to get rid of it right there. And Johnny Buchanan on the first throwing play from Tykel Fields today, that is now 4 picks in his last 2 games. That is not the way Chuck Priori and the starting offense wanted to start this game for the Seawolves, especially when getting the ball.
Buchanan, a playmaker for this Hens defense. He's a good tackler with some good football instinct. Remember, his father played football at Rutgers, and his great uncle, Joe Oyer, played the NFL with the Dolphins. His first pick and first pick 6 of the season, as we see the Blue Hens now line up in field goal formation. And here we see Jake Roth getting ready to get the point after. Kick us up and through the middle. That one is good. So Blue Hens got a great pick 6 off the hands of Tykel Fields. His 5th consecutive game now where he's thrown at least 1 interception. Johnny Buchanan taking that one back about 30 yards or so for the touchdown.
Well, the sophomore gets his first pick of his career, and looking like more than likely the linebacker out of Brick, New Jersey. His first year on the Delaware Blue Hens, and last year he was an immediate impact for the linebacker position. He saw 10 of the 12 games during the season, recorded 7 tackles, and this is his 2nd actual career interception for Delaware. He had 1 last year against Lafayette.
Now, Zach, looking at the Stony Brook team, definitely not expecting that, especially a team like the Delaware who doesn't really blitz or pressure the QB there. That time it worked, and they're actually able to force Fields to have to get rid of that. How do you recover from an early turnover that was costly in the scoring department?
Well, you got to find better ways, as you said, to fill up those holes. You got to be able to make sure that even looked like there was only 3 players on the D-line trying to make that pressure. You had that big O-line right there. Usually a great pass protection to help Tyquell Fields throw it far, but unfortunately, they couldn't be able to help him that much. He had to throw it away and eventually ended up being picked off.
Also, should make a note, the wide receiver, number 18, Jaquil Webb, was the starting receiver in place more than likely for Sean Harris Jr., and this is his second-year redshirt sophomore, 5'9" wide receiver out of Erasmus Hall, Brooklyn.
Yeah, the kick is off. That's something to take note of once again, as that one just falls in the backfield. That one going to be a touchback for Stony Brook. Yeah, as we said, with all these different offensive weapons for Stony Brook to use, we've really seen them really dig into the deep bag of tricks in terms of their receivers, having to use a lot of different receivers, sometimes for strategy, other times for injury. So seeing a player like Webb, a quick, speedy guy, some good hands, but it's definitely someone who's kind of been thrust in here a bit quickly, probably a bit unexpected, not too much playing time previously. So, Seawolves get the ball back. They'll be at their 25. Tyquell Fields in shotgun formation. 3 receivers, 2 on the near side, 1 on the far side. 5 Blue Hens on the defensive line there. Pass, hands it off to Isaiah White, who blasts up the side, and is just running through now, through the 50 and to the Blue Hens 40. Great run there from Isaiah White from the sweep.
Great job on a hole for Isaiah White to find, able to work it up the middle, be able to work the speed in that regard, and now Stony Brook is in Delaware territory. Looking to get his touchdown to respond back to the pick 6 they threw.
Yeah, Isaiah White, 35-yard gain on his 3rd attempt, and that should be a good start to a nice birthday for the Gordon Heights native, the Longwood graduate. But still, Stony Brook still down, and they got to get back to work.
Yep. Ball past the midfield, handoff now to number 30 for Stony Brook, and that one just gained a few yards there from the Stony Brook running back.
That'll be about 4-yard gain on the play as they make it across the 40-yard line. There'll be a 2nd and 6 from the 38.
Yeah, Stony Brook showing eagle eye formation, definitely trying to lean away from the pass after throwing that early interception there.
Yeah, Jadon Turner got the last carry for the Seawolves. 5'10" freshman out of Rochester, New York. His first carry of his career.
Yeah, definitely big moment for him. As we said, these different offensive tools Coach Fiore will use, and they give it back to him now, running up the middle for a few yards where he gets pushed back by a couple defenders from the Fighting Blue Hens.
So it sets up a 3rd and short. They're getting that guy in with more playing time, and I don't see Tyson Lawton yet.
Yeah, no Lawton. We've seen Turner so far. White in the game, however. As now is a 3rd and short for Stony Brook, and you know Coach Fiore is going to try to force his team to make sure they get this first down. He has 4 receivers here in eagle eye formation. We see McKenzie in the tight end position with White next to field.
Watch Nick Anderson here on the right side.
Said it's a handoff now up the middle once again to White, and the Blue Hens snuffed that one. Now able to realize there was another run attempt and push them back before the 4th down line.
So it looks like the offense is probably going to stay on the field since they're only about a yard away from the first down. So let's see if they can try and test the Blue Hens defense one more time.
Yeah, gain of 2, 4th and 2 here on the Blue Hens 38. They're got to get, at the 40, got to get to the 38 in order to get that first down.
White's back in the backfield with Fields, looking to try and see if he'll set it up to him or if Fields will work up a fake handoff and try a play.
I think this play, the ball has to go to Nick Anderson here. You got to go with your best receiver, showing zone, but they're loading at the box with 8 guys.
And there's actually a handoff now up the right side. Let's see if they get enough. There was a run of at least 1 yard, and refs indicating that no, it's not enough. The handoff to Turner on the far side, not enough to get the first down push. And Stony Brook turning the ball over in 2 consecutive drives. Not the way Coach Fiore wanted his team to start.
And the Stony Brook sideline, they want to review this, see if he got to that Delaware 38-yard line. It was kind of close, maybe a half yard short, and more than likely I think the refs made the right call there. It looked like he was just shy, and Stony Brook's defense will come onto the field.
Coach Fiore and Stony Brook obviously disappointed. Zach, you could turn over the ball 2 consecutive times. How do you recover on that defensively?
Well, you just got to find a way. I mean, this is the first time today that's the Delaware offense coming onto the field with the Stony Brook defense, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah, now we see our first offensive action for Delaware. 3 receivers, one far side, 2 on the near side. It's a handoff now, and finding Rue up the middle. We've got near a first down area going on the far side. That's their lead running back to John Lee.
Yeah, the John Lee, he has been a catalyst so far for the Blue Hens this season. And at the moment, 87 carries, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he had his best game was against UNH. 23 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, outstanding speed from Lee there. Definitely someone they love turning to. Handing it right back off on the fake. Up the middle now. Blasting through some Seawolves defenders before he's taken down right before the 45 on the Seawolves side. It'll be second and short for the Delaware. Yeah, we've seen this Delaware offense. They really love to switch it up. Either through some quick passing or using their speedy backs like DeJohn Lee and Will Knight, who we'll be seeing a little bit later in this contest, I'm sure. Yes, second and short now. Shotgun formation there. Seawolves showing blitz, about 6 on front line. Fake a sweep, now fake the pass now. Their pass is Henderson trying to air it out over everyone's head there. Good defensive pressure there from, I believe that was Heslop there, in order to pressure the receiving core from the Blue Hens, forced that one to go over everyone's heads.
Looks like that was close to being a foul. Looks like the Delaware bench and the fans want that, but they're not going to get it. Seems like there wasn't that much contact made with the defender on the play. The refs caught one of that, so that's going to be falling as an incomplete passing of 3rd and short.
Yeah, Henderson trying to air that one out to Amanchi, but good pressure there from Heslop in order to just pressure and defend in order to force that incompletion. 3rd and short now, shotgun formation, 3 receivers, 2 on the far side. Almost wobbles the ball, high snap, but Henderson able to recover and run up the middle for a first down. Wow, talk about making the most out of a bad play. A high snap that Henderson actually
like Nolan Henderson may have hurt his knee there, falling down. And it's made more of a hyperextension. The way that he landed, it looks like he slipped, not dove to the ground. He is down on the ground.
Yeah, that is a great note, Jim. It's just shocking to see. He turned that bad play into a good one, but in the process, seems like he may have accidentally gotten hurt on that one. And losing a quarterback like that is definitely something you hate to see.
There's no doubt about that. Delaware off to a good start, but that could kill the offense if Pat Kehoe won't be able to find that much.
All right, so in this case, we'll take an injury timeout. We'll turn it back over to the studio where Matt Mankiewicz is waiting for some sports recap updates. And we've been listening to WUSB 90.1. Let's turn over to Matt.
Okay, guys, back in the studios of WUSB. Matt Mankiewicz here. Let's take a look at what is going on. First of all, we will check up on some football scores and also on everything else as time permits. We're going to keep it really concise here, however, and wait for some of the updates to come through. We got some top 25 stuff going on right now. 5th-ranked Alabama leads Mississippi State 35-7 with 6:08 left before halftime. Number 11, Florida, over Mizzou 6-3 with 6:10 left in the second. Oklahoma State ranked 22nd, 14-0 over Kansas. Indiana trails now, has the ball, but is trailing Penn State, ranked Nittany Lions 17-14 at Beaver Stadium with 10:45 left in the second quarter. And 15th ranked Michigan and Michigan State intra-state rivalry tied at 7 with 6:42 left before halftime. Let's also take a look at what's going on in the CAA as the season winds down, and also our, of course, playoff prospects for all these schools. And taking a quick look as we move down into the Colonial Athletic Association. And Rhode Island has a 10-0 lead on Maine with 36 seconds up before halftime. Early going, 9:59 left in the first. Towson leads William and Mary on the road 7-3. New Hampshire and Albany, no score. Early going, 10:41 left in the first, 3:30. Richmond and JMU. And from Friday, Villanova beat LIU 35-7. Let's send it back.
Thank you, Matt. Back here at W. Raymond Field at Delaware Stadium, setting the scene. After Henderson got a running first down, it seemed like he tripped or fell past the first down line, so he injured his leg in the process. He was helped off the field, but was able to stand back in his own power. So we'll be seeing Pat Kehoe in the quarterback position, filling in for him. This big man here in the QB position, as we see him here in the one-back position here, passing off to Lee, who's trying to run through the outside, beats a Stony Brook defender, and on the near side, he's able to go past the 30 to the 25, goes to about the Stony Brook 24, and gets a first down for the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens.
Yeah, making that carry, a first carry of the game for Will Knight. And I told you, got to watch out for this guy. I see he explodes in the open field. He's got 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games for 276 yards. He can be a leading flex back as well, so you see what's have to neutralize him already. You got the defensive touchdown from Buchanan, and then, of course, Will Knight's got to play a factor now.
Absolutely. Now fake the sweeps. Akio's going to keep it himself, running it up the middle there. Gets to about the 20, or to the 15 rather, of Stony Brook, just before the first down marker there. So it'll be second and short for the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens.
The Stony Brook defense struggling early here as they're starting to give up big plays against the Blue Hens, but Stony Brook did make some big plays earlier on the offense, but couldn't get that first down ultimately.
Yeah, and it's especially interesting seeing Pat Kehoe run it there. Kehoe, big man there, 6'2", still over 225 or so. Jim, you would compare him to perhaps maybe a Derrick Henry of the NFL in terms of his stature and ability to run it. Instead, here it's a pass off now. Kehoe trying to find up the middle, goes over everyone's head, trying to find Amanchi there that time. That one just sailing way over. It's just under the field goal post.
It looks like he overshot that one. That falls incomplete. Looks like he was trying to find a receiver to go straight to the end zone, but as I said, way over his head, not much contact.
Yeah, with Kehoe, his stature at quarterback is a rare sight. I usually say Derrick Henry, but in this stance, it's like Cam Newton throwing the ball left-handed. And knowing for Kehoe, when he's usually on the field, he's known for his legs more than his arm.
Yeah, third short here now. Delaware, 4 receivers. Shotgun formation, though, for it will be Lee and Kehoe there in the backfield. And instead, fakes the handoff, goes for a shot, and it fumbles the ball. And looks like that was going to be recovered from Stony Brook.
And the refs are going to let this play out. And that's what it's going to be called, a fumble on the play, and it belongs back to Stony Brook. Couldn't tell whether or not Kehoe lost the ball on that, but that was a play that Stony Brook desperately needed early in this game.
Absolutely. Kehoe was stepping back, ready to get that one throw, and it looks like he was hit by the booming Stony Brook defense there. Defensive line able to knock it out of his hands and forced the fumble. Good scoop up there from number 2 from Stony Brook, and that was Casey Williams, the defensive end.
Yeah, the transfer out of Temple, and he is not known for this. He did have along against Villanova last year, he had a fumble return off a block punt that sent it into the end zone. That really started Stony Brook to really emerge against the Wildcats on their home turf. But now Stony Brook also being down in this game, they got the ball right back pending on this review, and they will review it because all turnovers and scoring plays are reviewed. And looking at where this was, I was looking at the play action, and I saw Kehoe, I don't know if he got sacked. I was looking for people downfield that were open, and Stony Brook put a blanket over the Delaware offense. And we'll see in a few moments, or maybe a couple of minutes, to see what the outcome of this review will be.
Yeah, with that, we'll take another quick break there, sending it back to WUSB Sports Studio, where we'll make way to learn some more sports on
JMU. Let's send it back.
Thank you, Matt. Ken Fermin, Zach Wilson, Jim Ferchland here on the call. Delaware up 17-10 with 10:14 left in this contest. Just tuning in, a big Mickey Smith penalty after a good third down stop negated that stop. Gave them the chance gave Delaware a first down chance once again in the red zone. Will Knight obliges with a 21-yard rush for into the end zone. Stony Brook now receiving the ball back at the 30-yard line after a short punt kick.
And we need to see the emergence of Tykel Fields in this fourth quarter. In the last 10 minutes, Tykel Fields really needs to light a fire under himself.
Only 1 for 5 yards, 2 interceptions. Hands it off once again. Trying to run up the side is White. Able to get to the 35-yard line, but not much else there. 2nd and 5.
White, again, took a tough, hard, landed on his shoulder. He'll come out for this play.
Yeah, he's limping a bit. Doesn't look too bad. His shoulder and leg roughed up a little bit. Remember, he did face injury woes earlier this season, but, you know, he wants to be out there on the field giving it all in what's going to be his final season, as well as his birthday.
If you're the Stony Brook wide receivers, how are you reacting to this game?
You're probably frustrated. You know that you haven't been able to find any catches so far, and you know that you have to create a separation and find yourself in Fields' range.
Shotgun formation, 3 receivers, handoff now to the backfield. No, fake by Fields, able to roll out, found a man in McKenzie, just overthrows. Once again, Fields just off pace with his receiver and tight end core there. That was another pass opportunity that should have been a first down, but overthrown by Fields, and he's having an awful game.
1 of 6 for 5 yards. He's got more interceptions than completions. He's got 2 picks, 1 to Johnny Buchanan on his first pass of the game, resulting in a 33-yard pick 6. And then a back shoulder off the back foot to Noah Plack in the end zone, resulting in a touchback.
Yeah, you know, those receivers and tight ends definitely not happy on both parts. First, not even to get the ball, as well as Fields just bad throws. That time he gets a pass, able to give it to Anderson for his first reception this game. That was going to be at the Stony Brook 45. It's just a straight dart to him, able to get a first down, move up the chains with 9:20 left in this contest.
So Fields is finally able to find a rhythm, find an answer to get going with a passing game. Nick Anderson being in that direction, being one of his big receivers this season, able to get the drive going to continue it right near midfield.
Yeah, it took 50 minutes, but Fields finally gets a first down pass in this contest. They're definitely not the Tyco Fields we're used to seeing. The man who has phenomenal arm and legs, that time hands it off there to the far side rushing, able to evade a tackle, get past the 50 to the 40 before he's tackled out of bounds right in between, looks like a 38-yard line, was Jaden Turner.
And for Jaden Turner, that has both Isaiah White and Jaden Turner, at least 100 rushing yards on the day.
Yeah, they have been spectacular on the running game. That is what's keeping the Stony Brook Seawolves in this game today, between the duo of 28 and 31. Isaiah White and Jaden Turner. Well, Turner now shy of 2 yards, 98 yards on 12 carries, but more than likely he'll get 100 today.
Stony Brook back in eagle eye formation. Fields looking at the sideline. Delaware upset. They thought that maybe Mackenzie or Lucas may have jumped off sides. Instead of play not called, Turner still in the backfield, though, as Fields starts shifting his receiving play. Said hands it off now to Turner running up the middle, able to get a couple yards before he's tripped up.
Gets about 3 yards on the carry, makes it towards the 36-yard line. And Turner finally gets 100 yards.
Yeah, that one was actually a big play by Fields because the shot clock, or the game clock was actually winding down. Though it was only about 1 second left before Stony Brook may have to call a timeout or being charged with a five-yard penalty. Still 2nd and 7 here with 7:50 left in this contest. Delaware up 17-10. Ball on Delaware 36-yard line, however. We see the back behind field with 3 receivers as well. Hands it off. No, fakes the handoff. Instead, airs it out once again, but gets deflected by the defensive line from Delaware. Bats that one down. 3rd down is Stony Brook facing.
Yeah, Drew Nichols almost picked that up. That would have been his 3rd interception of the game for Tyco Fields. Tyco Fields was lucky enough that that pass was tipped and negated possibly an easy catch from Drew Nichols there, but falls harmlessly to the turf, and a big 3rd down coming up for the Seawolves.
Yes, Blue Hens defense playing inside now, playing tight. Definitely going to try to blitz. Fields has to pass this one, trying to air it out. No, instead tries to run, evades a tackle, except that time gets stuffed once again from the Delaware defense. Only able to get about a yard or so, but he'll be stopped well short of the 1st down off that broken pass play.
This is 4 down territory. No, they're going to bring out Mitchell Wright.
I don't like this at all. They need to start taking chances here. They're down by 7.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting call here from Coach Fiore, someone who usually in this season really hasn't played conservative. He's gone for it several times in 4th down territories, this time deciding that he's going to have to rely on his defense in order to get a big stop, in order to try to force another offensive possession. But now we see Mitchell Wright at midfield punting this one. A low punt, keeping it to the far side. Fair catch called and dropped at the ground at the 6-yard line is Delaware. So they'll get the ball at their own 6-yard line. Looks like that was Dylan Zimmerman there on the punt reception. And
time management has been much better between both these teams. No team has used a single timeout yet in this second half. 6:51 left in Stony Brook. They need to go. This is 3 down territory here. You need to get 3 and out here and they get the ball back, and then hopefully continue to play solid defense throughout the rest of this game with a little under 7 minutes left to go.
One can only hope. However, for Stony Brook, they know what's at stake here, and they got to play a better defense. McKay Smith cost them dearly. This game could have still been tied if it wasn't for his mistake.
Yeah, you know, Mickey Smith definitely wants to try to rectify his blunder, because that could be the difference maker if the score does not change within the next 6:51, because that penalty led for the Will Knight 20-yard rush, where he was able to find a hole up the middle and right side in order to score. For both teams, however, Stony Brook has allowed 13 first downs, but on 3rd downs, they've forced Delaware to go 2 for 9, only allow an average of 5.3 yards per play. It's the completions that have been the problem, though, because while they may only allow an average of 4 yards per rush, they've allowed 14.5 yards per completion from Kehoe, who's 6 for 10 with 87 yards over the air. Also interesting to note, by the way, Stony Brook winning the time of possession battle. They've held the ball for 31-12, while Delaware's only had it for 21-57. However, they're the ones behind on the scoreboard with less than 7 minutes to go in this game. So Stony Brook already have 3 sacks in this contest. Definitely going to try to look for a couple more, as well as maybe get a couple more.
If you notice, Mekhi Smith is not on the field for the start of this drive.
Yeah,
So if you ask me, that's a safe play right there because you can't let Smith get any more penalties going.
Yeah, penalties as a whole definitely been an Achilles heel for the Seawolves defense. Second in the conference in terms of committing penalties, as we see a handoff there to Lee, only about to get back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 at the 8-yard line. As I was saying, Stony Brook second in the CAA, committing an average of over 71 penalty yards per game. And they've only committed 3 so far today, but really that last one, really the big difference maker on the scoreboard.
DeMonch again with the tackle. That's his 7th of the day. He leads the team in tacklers. Alki Contrasta with 5.
Yeah, Stony Brook playing a lot more aggressively on defense. About 4 on the line, 3 right behind him, showing blitz. Handoff once again. Lee trying to get something. Stony Brook able to read that one out pretty easily. Only allow about a yard or so as they get back to line scrimmage.
Big play coming up here for the Stony Brook defense. I don't think you blitz here. You play man-to-man. Maybe just have your line blitz against the quarterback. Aside from that, they're going to throw here.
This will definitely be a big, interesting situation to see what's going to happen as we see 3 receivers on the right for the Blue Hens.
Yeah, as I was saying, Kehoe, unlike Fields, not afraid to really throw it. Neither team's really aired it out, though, but we could suspect a possible check down. It worked earlier. Remember the shovel pass on 4th down? Instead, Kehoe does an option, tries to read option through the defense, but Stony Brook stops him back at the line of scrimmage. Ollie Contrassa flexing on the offense, showing his guns after a big stop there. Stony Brook will get the ball back.
He showed off his style. He was lucky he didn't get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty right there, or else he would have very, very grave thoughts about it. But Stony Brook able to finally hold the Blue Hens on a 4th down right here, and they'll have their punt returner stationed at the Delaware 45-yard line.
Gavin Carlson will be the punt returner.
Yes, a freshman defensive back, 5'11", 170 from Fairport, New York in the back. Remember, of all these injuries, Stony Brook has really had to shuffle both their defensive and offensive players, as well as their punting team as well. This one punt aired off. This one at midfield, gonna have to call a fair catch and fall and bobbles the ball. Now it's going to be a battle. Delaware signaling that they have it, and with the freshman there, it's tough to see. And yes, refs indicate that Delaware recovers the ball off the bobble from Carson. Wow,
unreal.
They should not have had that happen. They should have had Nick Anderson go there because he knows how to take care of the situation better.
Coach Fiore is trying to go to the freshman defensive back there, and it burns them that time. Carson on his first punt attempt bobbles the ball. We see it there just bouncing off his shoulder and leg. Delaware able to rush back and get the big gain. Now they move into Stony Brook territory with time and ball management in their hands with 4:40 to go in this contest. And these Delaware fans are proud.
If I'm Delaware right now, I am riding through this running game and looking for Jake Roth to kick a long field goal.
Kehoe now backs gets a run off, only gets 2 yards or so. Looks like he was off tonight, unable to get more than a couple yards from this defense.
Yeah, Contrassa and Lopez there for the short gain. Another injury? No. Well, Casey Williams is slow to get up, and he's up. We see McKay Smith will check back in. No, he'll come right back out.
You got to keep him out. There's no way that he should be in this game after the kind of damage he's been dealing for Stony Brook in that last drive.
Well, if Williams does go out, Smith is going to have to go back in. Since Williams was down, he is, by rule of NCAA, going to have to miss at least the next play while doctors check on him to make sure he's okay. But he does look fine. Smith will be in the backfield, though, so Stony Brook hoping he doesn't cause too much trouble back there. That said, though, you got to wonder with the clock rolling, under 4:20 left in this game, is Delaware going to continue running it through their ground game, or they can try to look for a pass and maybe target Smith to get a call for another penalty. Delaware at 232 total yards, 145 on the ground, 87 through the air. Kehoe 6 for 10, but hasn't really thrown in much this quarter. They're seeing 3 receivers here, 2 on the far side, 1 near side. It looks like that's Knight right next to Kehoe in shotgun formation. That one Lee high snap, though, able to turn the high snap to a gain of yards there, able to get about 5 or so on that one, bringing up a 3rd and 4 at the Stony Brook 41 with 3:34 left to go.
I think Kehoe can exhale after that high snap. Almost literally went over his head. Hands were able to grip the ball and give into the hands of Lee for a short gain, but only 4 yards left until Delaware can go and move the sticks. And if they do, then Stony Brook's in trouble.
Well, they need to play the run defense right here because it looks like that may be what happened. But 4 receivers are spread out. The Stony Brook needs to be able to do their best defensively, not make any mistakes here.
3rd and 4 receivers on the outside. Handoff, though, going to Knight, and Knight's able to get the first down and then some, able to get an extra yard or two. And then moving up to the 35-yard line, and that moves the sticks as well as forces Stony Brook to start burning their 3 timeouts.
Well, Stony Brook hasn't used the timeout yet, so they still have time to get the ball back if they can.
Looks like Stony Brook using that first of their 3rd timeouts. They're going to have to start really blocking down and starting to preserve the clock. They won't have any chance of getting the ball back. Down 7 with the ball in their territory. So, yeah. Looking once again at the stats real quick, 241 total yards from Delaware, as well as them losing time possession, 25-56 to 31-12. But it's been them that's been on the plus in terms of turnovers, capitalizing off of 3 turnovers, including that fumbled ball on the punt return attempt from Carlson, as well as 2 picks from Tykel Fields, 1 being returned for a touchdown.
Does Stony Brook not know what's at stake here? I mean, this is basically to save your season, and really, I'm looking at this game like Stony Brook was comfortable against Southeast Missouri State last year, and it just did not show up in the second half. Looks like it's showing exactly that right now in this outcome with only 3 minutes left to go, a little less than that.
Eagle eye formation here, handoff now to Knight. Knight not able to get anything, though, was the defensive line able to stop Knight at the line of scrimmage.
So that's what they'll call their 2nd timeout after a loss that the defense was able to hold. 2:46 left to go in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that was Hammonds Jr. there on the tackle, able to get a good stop before now was able to break out for another big gain. But yeah, Stony Brook left with will be 1 timeout now. With 2:46 to go, down 7. It'll be 2nd and 12 on the Stony Brook 38.
Fumbles and penalties has definitely been one of the biggest killers for Stony Brook today, as they know better than that, but they are unable to find a way to keep themselves poised like a really neat team, and this is just getting them nowhere, but they still have a chance, if anything.
Yeah, just a lot of unfortunate breaks from the Seawolves team. As we said, they've gotten 3 sacks, but they've and also 10 tackles for a loss, total 25. Defensively, they've done fine, but it's really been the mistakes like fumbles. 2 fumbles, one of them lost, which is forcing this possession, as well as 3 turnovers, as I said before, really putting them in this position where they're down, despite really winning the time possession and the battle on the ground. Fake the sweep, handoff now back to Knight. Knight able to evade a couple of defenders, use the juke move, and is able to move the stick up off an amazing evasion there in order to get a first down. Fancy footwork leading to that first down there from Knight.
Yeah, well, Knight, really this is a slow, painful death right now for the Seawolves. Using 2 timeouts, you got 1 timeout left, 2:37, but just as a note, the clock will stop if they get a first down after 2 minutes, but more than likely that's what Stony Brook is looking to
Seawolves burn their final timeout. Coach Torrey left no other options. Going to need a big stop and hope for a miracle. Hypothetically, if they do get a stop and they are forced to have Rolf kick it. Rolf has missed a field goal earlier today. However, the wind conditions were different, and that was facing right to left. This time they're going left to right. Just opposite conditions on the field as this game has progressed.
After that run by Will Knight, he's now over the century mark. 104 of the 165 rushing yards for the Blue Hens today. Stony Brook, 2 of 296 rushing yards and only 10 points. How is that even possible?
Because their passing game has been of trouble, and as we've been talking about, the defense has been really bad here in the 4th quarter with allowing those penalties as they did last week against Towson.
Yeah, to Zach's point, as you were saying, the passing game has been non-existent. And I know we're going to talk a lot more about this tomorrow at the WUSB Sports Section from 10 to 12 a.m. However, only 2 catches, one from Anderson going for 11 yards, the other Jaquel Webb for 5. Had a ball bobbled at the line of scrimmage, but that one going back to Delaware. Delaware getting lucky there off the bad snap. He thought Kehoe was under the center. Instead, Kehoe was a shotgun formation, but a lineman they're able to get. Actually, that was the wide receiver, number 21, for the Blue Hens. Able to, actually, that was the fullback, Owen Tyler, able to get on the ball there off the sweep. But it'll be 2nd and 12 with 2:12 to go in this contest. Ball on Stony Brook 27.
If I was tuning into this game right now and I saw that Tykeal Fields was 2 of 8 for 16 yards in the fourth quarter, I'd be like, did he get hurt? Did the coach not play him? No, he played the whole game so far. He's only got 16 passing yards. It's really hard to believe that how much Tykeal Fields has really not even showed up today.
First off, Blue Hens burned their first time out. 1:55 left in this contest. They're up 17-10. 2nd and 12, number 27. As you were saying, though, yeah, Tykeal has pretty much been a non-factor, which is surprising because he's usually an X-factor. His ability to be so mobile and versatile through the air and on the ground has really been a reason for why Stony Brook was successful starting off this season. But ever since conference play, he's really been regressing as the conference games have gone through.
And this is a man who is leading the FCS yards per completion at 17.91 a game. He doesn't even have 17 passing yards today.
That's right. He's going to stop at 16.
It's absolutely absurd.
Knight in the backfield, Kehoe and shotgun. Going to hand off to Knight. Stony Brook reads it. Able to get pushed for a couple yards by his offensive line, but Knight now moves the ball up to about 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 inside the Stony Brook 21.
Doesn't really matter at this point, by the way, because Jake Roth, more than likely, if they do, will come out for a game-sealing field goal, if anything. And his longest so far this year has been 38 yards, which really hasn't been anything out of his range, and that was against Delaware State to open off the year. But still, the Stony Brook defense has played great. I think Tykeal Fields, he just didn't throw the ball enough today, and I just feel his confidence has been lacking ever since the Richmond game.
Yeah, 41 degrees here at Delware Stadium. Wind reaching 13 miles per hour right now. Delaware wasted the last second to burn their second timeout. 68 seconds left in this contest. Delaware up 17-10 at the Stony Brook 23-yard line. As I said, though, earlier in this contest, Roth did miss a field goal that we expect to go in. So nothing's automatic, especially non-CAA football. However, if it does look likely, since the wind is blowing the other direction, that this will actually help Roth in terms of maybe it'll convert this field goal. So and if they do get the 10-point lead, a minute to go, it's all but likely that Stony Brook's playoff chances are eliminated.
So depending on what happens here, Towson runs the ball, gets a short gain. They have one more timeout, use all the clock yet with 30 seconds. Jake Roth kicks the field goal. Stony Brook gets like 25 seconds left with the ball. First down, stop the clock. But the chances are you may need another Gavin Heslop, a chance to block another field goal. But it's... Delaware is playing this game much better to seal off the game better than Villanova did.
Absolutely. We're not seeing any wacky play-action rollouts and holding calls here.
Up by 7. It doesn't really make much difference.
The ball. Kehoe and Stony Brook looks like they got on it that time. And they forced the turnover after another sloppy hando. Talk about miracles. Stony Brook gets another lifeline off the bobbled fumble from Pat Kehoe. Wow.
Did I just talk about the way Villanova handled the situation? And then, of course, Delaware coughs it up. And now it's time for Tykeal Fields to ball out. It really is.
That was the second mishap this drive from Delaware. Remember the first time the center Mario Farinella thought Kehoe was under the center. They were fortunate to get on top of that one was Owen Tyler. That time, that one just deflects off Kehoe's hand as off the snap. And now we're seeing Tykeal Fields, 4 receivers. Fields alone in the backfield, has to air that one out. Gets the completion to White. Able to move it to the 30-yard line. Seawolves in no huddle formation because they have no timeouts to burn. 54 seconds.
Hold on a second. We have a flag on the play.
And another penalty costing Stony Brook. This one, the holding call from Ian McLean. right tackle for Stony Brook. That pushes them back 10 yards and negates the forward progress. However, Stony Brook still fortunate to be in this situation considering pretty much everyone had ridden them out of this contest.
Well,
And guess who recovered the fumble? Sean Hammonds Jr.
Yeah,
What a game he's had today. The last 3 weeks, he has been exceptional.
Yeah, Hammonds has really stepped it up. Fields down the backfield. Blitz coming. Has to check it out again to White. White able to grab it. He's able to get the catch at the 23-yard line or so. Stony Brook going to have to continue moving. 40 seconds and running on the clock. Second and 16.
This is not ideal. They have to get the ball and then go out of bounds. They're hurrying it up.
Yeah, you're right. Second and 14. Ball in the 23. Fields stepping back. Looks like they're sending streaks. Now just airing out once again to Anderson in 30. Able to juke a couple defenders. Not able to go out of bounds, though. 20 seconds ago, though, and Sewell's facing third down. As you said, Zach, they really got to start considering airing this one out of bounds or going for some verticals.
You really have to spike it here. You spike the ball here.
Well, 10 seconds to go and running. 3rd and 9, the Stony Brook 28.
No, they'll run.
Going for the big one.
They need a first down.
3 seconds to go. Fields just airing this one out. He able to make the catch is Anderson, but stays in bounds. Stony Brook unable to do anything with that last chance. Yeah, they got the completion, but this game is over, and Delaware survives off the turnover to win 17-10 and move to 3-5 in conference play.
Tykel Fields, a negative 8.2 QBR rating. I don't know if I've ever seen anything less than that, but Stony Brook didn't quit. There were some bad plays in the fourth quarter. Gavin Carlson making that huge disruption on that fumbled punt return for Stony Brook, and that was pretty much the game. And then you had the unsportsmanlike penalty on McKee Smith, and that was another thing that couldn't happen for Stony Brook. And then when you ever down a touchdown with a little under 7 minutes left to go, time of possession is the clutchest thing and most important thing, and Delaware literally punched Stony Brook in the gut time after time after time until they literally threw in the white flag at the last second.
Well, it wasn't the whole team. I believe that it wasn't the entire team that did that. I believe the one who got punched Stony Brook was McKay Smith. As I said, if it wasn't for his penalty, then this would have still been a tied game. If everything went better for Stony Brook in the second half, as far as being able for Fields to not throw that pick in the end zone and for McKay Smith not to make that penalty, Stony Brook could have won it 32-10. But all those mistakes, the fumbles, the turnovers, the penalties, it just killed them again.
Yeah, just a sloppy game overall. Well, that's mainly Stony Brook, though. As you said, the turnovers and the penalties were costly. Stony Brook, the +2 on the -2 on the turnover margin. As we said, the fumble coughed up by Carlson on the punt return gave Delaware the chance to burn out the majority of the clock, as well as that turnover off the ugly pass from Tykel Fields cost them a chance to score in the end zone when that was a third down play, as well as the other turnover, the other interception made earlier in the contest. Even though Stony Brook out-sacked and have really out-defended the Delaware Blue Hens, getting 3 sacks, getting 10 tackles for loss compared to only 2 from Delaware, and really limiting Delaware to 250 total yards and less than 100 over the air. It was just a bad effort, especially from some key players like McKee Smith and Tykel Fields, who wasn't really able to do their best on the field today, and it definitely cost Stony Brook in the long run.
It was a big reason why Stony Brook didn't win this game. So that negative 8.2 yard QBR rating after updating on the last pass to Andrew Trent for the 18-yard completion. 5 of 11, 45 yards, and 2 interceptions for the Yonkers native. The Stony Brook quarterback did not have another rough week. Last week we were said that he had a really bad game against Towson with 3 interceptions. Well, this tops it with only 45 yards completion. And Pat Keogh, 87 yards, 6 of 10 from the field, was very accurate today. 133.1 QBR rating, only 20 points shy of a perfect QBR rating at 158.3. But again, this is a really tough loss for Stony Brook, and this more than likely just pushes them out of the FCS playoffs. And then they got to play. The next game will be basically for bragging rights. You got Albany next week. However, Albany has really turned the tide in this in the CAA. They were projected to finish dead last in the Colonial Athletic Conference, but they have earned the top 5. Jeff Undercuff, again, has had a sensational year for Albany, along with Carl Mofor being the top rusher, but still, Stony Brook, really tough loss today.
Yeah, as we said, that one pushes Stony Brook well under 500 in conference play. With their 2 wins and 5 losses now, they are essentially eliminated from the playoffs. And meanwhile, Delaware were able to eke out another victory now. That's their second in this conference. They go to they're third in the conference. They go on to 3-3 in conference play. So with that, before we leave, let's just run down some final stats. Stony Brook out-totaled Delaware 341 to 250. However, over the year, Kehoe went 6 for 10 with 87 yards. Tykel Fields only going 5 for 11 and 45 yards, and was held pretty much in check throughout the first 3 quarters of this contest. Through the ground, Stony Brook just finished under 300 yards, 296 to 163. We saw a big breakout game from the birthday boy, 188 yards on 26 attempts from Isaiah White, including a 33-yard long rush, averaging 7.2 on the ground. Jaden Turner stepped it up, the freshman from the Bronx, doing a good job there with 101 yards on 13 attempts, a 41-yard long that ended up in a touchdown. Brinson as well stepped it up on his 4 attempts for 10 yards. Tykel Fields with the knee with his negative yardage. Meanwhile, for Delaware, Will Knight stepped it up for the Blue Hens, just flying past Stony Brook defense for 108 yards and a key touchdown, including that was a 21-yard long one. Meanwhile, DeJohn Lee stepped it up as well, alongside Knight, 2 of them really coinciding together for a majority of these rushing yards. Lee finished with 61 yards on 13 attempts and a 16-yard long. As for the receiving, Will Knight also stepped it up with 2 catches for 28 yards, including a 26-yard long. That was for a big first down. While Chichi Amachi got the big catch off the dive for 33 yards, for he was taken out the game for an injury. John Lee as well with 13 yards, and G. Coleman with 7. For Stony Brook, Nick Anderson took him a long time to get involved. He actually finished with 2 receptions for 16 yards. Andrew Trent finished with 1 for 18. That was the longest for Stony Brook. Meanwhile, as we said, Stony Brook led the game in first downs and third down conversions, going 6 for 14. Defense held Delaware in check, going 3 for 12. But it was even leading total plays 59-54, and the time of possession 32-16 to 27-44. The big difference maker was once again those turnovers: 2 fumbles, 1 loss, 3 turnovers from Stony Brook, the 2 interceptions from Tykel Fields, penalties as well.
With one of them coming in the end zone.
Yeah, 1 coming in the end zone as well. 4 penalties for 50 yards from Stony Brook, while Delaware only had 3 for 35. Well, even though they may be under average in terms of penalties, those 4 penalties are all big and costly. One of the reasons why Stony Brook lost this contest.
Just an unfortunate game for Stony Brook. They had all the ability to win it, but as we all know, as we saw, as I've been mentioning, we saw those turnovers and the penalties, especially late in the 4th quarter when McKay Smith, had that not been happened, this could have been a different turn of events.
Absolutely. Well, with that, Delaware ties the series at 2-2. They will play again next year, probably. Meanwhile, they will wrap up their season traveling to Villanova. That one will start at 1 p.m. Meanwhile, Stony Brook, their postseason chances may be done, but their regular season sure ain't. They got a big one coming up next week for the Battle of Long Island, Battle of New York here between UAlbany and Stony Brook. Battle for the Golden Apple at Delware Stadium. That one's next Saturday at 2 p.m. and will definitely be a big game for bragging rights, and definitely a final chance for these seniors to really step it up in front of their home crowd. They're going to want to go back home, really try to erase the bad funk of this season in next week's contest.
Along with the way how last season ended for the Seawolves against the Albany Great Danes. So, yeah, the seniors more than likely are going to be riled up, play their last game at Delware Stadium, especially Isaiah White. And this is a loss that they're going to dwell on, and more than likely, it was arguably their worst game of the year. In FCS, aside from the Utah State game, that was a nightmare.
I don't know about that. I think their worst one was against either Towson or Richmond, because that was a worse affair, especially when you get humiliated at home.
Yeah, all 4 of those contests resulting in losses and big ones for Seawolves. We'll definitely talk about that and a lot more tomorrow at the WUSB Sports Section show, starting from 10 to 12 a.m. tomorrow night. That being said, we'll wrap it up here from Tubby Raymond Field at Delaware Stadium. From WUSB 90.1, it's Ken Fermin alongside Zach Wilson and Jim Ferchland. It's been our pleasure covering today's game for you. Have a great sports night.